start, I'll affect my partner. For 60 years. And I also want to thank Tim for all the work that he's done. Obviously, I see by the mental week that all the time he spent on the work that went into it. Over the years, I've had people, even now, when I tell them about a family of 7, they look down their nose at you. I wish they could have been here for the last 2 hours to see why I want a big family, wanted a big family. Some of you know it, but before we even got married, we decided to have 7 children. We had 5 boys down and 2 girls. They were all named. All the boys got the names. Unfortunately, somehow we started with T's, I don't know why. And we had a Tracy and a Teresa, but somehow those 2 didn't get in there. They became Ann and Kit.
Yeah, instead of Kathy and Annie.
Would you like a new name?
I remember seeing that.
What reminded me of the mom made a doodle. I have it on a Jason. I work with Brandeis, I should say. On Brandeis headline, headrow, showing her doodling, putting all the names down, all the boys and the girls. The only thing I can tell you about why I wanted a big family is I came from a small family relatively with 3. Mom came with 5, so it was pretty good. But my dad was one of 12. And he was, you probably all know, he lost his mother when he was 8 days old. She died at his birth. And because he had 6 brothers and sisters older than him, there was nobody to take care of him. So when his mother died, they farmed him out to a relative who he stayed with for 8 years. Didn't have anything to do with his whole family. In fact, the kids of the relative, my grandfather was their uncle. And when he would come, my dad would refer to him as Uncle Sally, Uncle Martin, I mean, because he didn't know it was his dad until years later. And then he went back to the family, and his dad died when he was 13. So he really didn't have a mother and father, so to speak, like we all knew. Never knew his mother, never spent any time with his father. But he was kind of the glue in that whole 2 families. They had the stepmother later on who treated them as the proverbial stepmother did, but it didn't bother him, and I never saw Dad say anything bad about her. But I saw enough over the years that I suffered for him, and I wouldn't go to her funeral. But anyway, his brothers and all together did more things as a group. And then, of course, back then there was no money. They had to do that, help each other out. Building houses, painting cars, doing cement work, you name it. It was one big happy family. And it was that way clearly in. And that's probably where I got the desire to have a big family.
Well, and all the garden, because everything was canned.
Yeah,
They'd done their
they
canned
butchered
foods.
together. They would butcher 3-4 hogs, and it would be all of them there at one time doing it, and scalding the hogs, the whole bit. You've seen the story, but I really am thankful for all these people. On the stories that were told, I think it's kind of interesting. He's focused a little bit on cars, and I'd like to just go through and I get a little car thing on each one of them. Tim got his license as soon as he could, and within 6 weeks, he had hit a doctor friend that I graduated with, Cadillac, with the Volkswagen.
You did one of the first heart transplants, didn't you?
Yep.
Randy. And then there was Kathy. She caught one time. Well, you heard the story about her driving a car without any oil in it.
I backed it out, and I didn't know it was.
My
The
turn.
damage was done.
My turn to talk.
I backed it out. There was no sign saying no oil.
Then somehow one of her friends, I'm not sure who, let the air out of the tires on the VW on the side drive. and she drove it for about 2 blocks with 2 flat tires on the rear end and didn't know it, but it wasn't going anywhere hard at all. Remember that?
I didn't back, it was not two blocks. It was right, I backed out the side and then I went to the front and then I realized there was an issue.
You can't miss flat tires though.
I
And the other thing is, I got a call one day talking about the Suburban. Dad, I just ran over the front of a car. You ran over the front of a car? Yes. I got up there and she had driven over a Volkswagen, front end of a Volkswagen.
Who had?
You!
That's not me.
You remember the lady that I settled with?
Richmond Gordman, 120.
It wasn't, it was,
No, that
I
was
took
you.
the bumper off. Wait. No. Right, so here's what happened. It was a parking spot.
Let him talk. Let
It
him
was a
talk.
parking spot.
Find her in contempt.
I was turning.
Who hit the bell?
I was pulling in.
Ernie, I'll give you another one. She had to call you when I was at work and she backed into the wall.
No, not back in the wall. The stone caught underneath the fence.
Now she,
Anyway, let that finish.
Anyway, let Daddy. Okay, let him finish.
All right, fine.
over at, the house was 2 houses
It was a
ago.
parking thing.
2 hours ago. I got a call, Kathy said, Dad, I've got a problem. I backed the car out of the garage, it was a truck,
It was
wasn't
a truck, right?
Yeah, it was a truck.
Yeah, I was on Christmas morning.
It was a split level house that had landscaping.
And it had a retaining wall,
And it had jutted rocks.
no rocks with us, and she'd come out of that and gone into it and got hung up. And so I said, Dad, I need some help. So he tries home and he's helping me. So we go over there and we drive in and she comes out crying and she's crying, don't you laugh now.
She's like, Dad, I can't go forward, I can't go back, and Troy, you shut up.
Well, I invited all those kids. I was babysitting. And
So we
and I was
bounced,
late for a doctor appointment for Tyler, I
we
think.
bounced it off the wall and got it out of there. Okay, let's see, then there's Tom.
I never had any moving thing. It was parking things. And whenever I tried to, all right, whatever. Gee,
There is no defense.
I'm sorry, Chris.
I was out of town.
I don't know if we got enough time for Tom.
Congratulations on your 65th.
This is when, back to the infamous Volkswagen. I was out of town and came in, and Mom told me they had an accident and blew both tires out of the car. The house with the car was there, the tires were there. It was Tom and Terry, and they're both gone. And we don't hear from them. It's 10, it's 11 at night. So I called John Detless, and I said, John, because he's the good friend of both of them. I said, John, where are they? Don't know what you're talking about. Nothing. No, don't know anything. All night long, we're waiting for them to come home. 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. Finally, at 6 o'clock, I called John and said, John, you gotta know something. Long pause. John says, I gave them some sleeping bags. I think they're sleeping over the hill. And they were. I could have killed them. I had a busted up Volkswagen, and I didn't get any sleep when I got home.
How did it happen?
I don't remember what that was. I don't remember that.
I remember you guys being gone all night though. That
I
was
remember
Well, you were coming out over St. Robert.
field there.
You guys hit the side of the the driveway and blew out both tires on the left side, the driver's side.
I bet there was some other story to that.
Just like the Christmas tree in the middle of the road.
Yeah.
Please, no
And then the
comment.
story, he comes home,
mailboxes?
comes home with a cracked windshield, and said on North 24th Street, he had a tree somebody threw out in the middle of the road. I didn't believe him. I drove up there and damned if there wasn't a tree up there. I don't know if that was a hit one to hit or not. The other time he tells me when he got in an accident, he said, I slid down it was very icy, and I come on this road, it's curved, and there's a telephone pole there, and I went right into it. And he said, and the guy told me lots of this happened. Here, he wrote it down for me. And he had a signed certificate, so to speak, from the guy that lived there, that people run into that by sliding into it.
Is that the one by Catlin?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's curved road.
Let's see now, who we got here? Well, Terry, of course. He had
I don't have any stories.
Terry had an issue with the big Suburban. He hit a car. I got a call. Dad, I hit a car. It's not bad. On and on and on. And I said, well, was anybody hurt? Well, he said, everything's okay. Nobody's fine. Nobody's hurt or anything. And I said, well, nobody was hurt? He said, well, an ambulance came and took the woman away.
Pregnant lady, yeah.
That was his first day out driving. Wasn't it, Terry?
No, it was the first day. We were coming back from the dam site. I can tell the story, the true story. I was in the back seat. I know the true story. It was a candy bar, wasn't it? It was a candy bar. Somebody threw a candy bar. Anyway, Terry's watching.
Toby started repairing vehicles, and all of a sudden I had a truck in my backyard with the motor out and the truck sitting there. And how long did it sit there that way?
Until Tom came. Yeah, I changed. That's the first motor I ever changed out.
Oh, now you tell me.
Is this that gray pickup?
Yeah, the VWs I did a ton. And I had a small block Chevy. That was the first one I ever did.
But look at it, that was my car, no accidents, thank you.
You didn't start driving right away.
Then we got
That's because
then
we
we got
got
Ann.
on the Suburban.
When we first moved out to
Bay Shores?
Bay Shores, Ann was of course single yet and living with
Oh,
us.
this is good.
And she came home one night, we bought her car, or helped buy her car. She came home and across the street, there's just like they're on both sides, but there's drainage and it slopes pretty bad. And she drove right into it and blew the tire and she's laying against it. And she's got a date. So she comes home, comes in and says, Dad, I got a problem, can you solve it? I gotta leave. So she left. So I worked my way to get that thing out of there by jacking it around and getting the car. I took the tire to the garage, had them fix it, and came home, put it on the car and put it back and put the car in the driveway. And she said, oh, well, how much was it? And I said, whatever it was, like $5.72. She comes out, she gives me $5.72. Not 73, not 71. $5.70.
Your time is worth something.
I remember doing that too.
He handled it better than I did. You ought to drive, you were to change that tire.
Oh, yeah. That night that I had a blown tire, and you weren't gonna help me.
Well, I'm glad I'm glad something like this is necessary, that we have the 60th, so that you can get together and be a group as we want you to be. Good friends for life. And I thank each one of you for being a part of our life and letting us be a part of your life. So with that, God bless you all.
What about Troy's story?
Troy?
Keep going.
Troy's car story.
Troy's car story.
Story for Troy in the car.
Troy, you missed Troy for his car story.
There is none.
Which one? I don't remember one about him with the car.
Ford Fairlane?
George, come on, remember.
You know, the last 3 kids, you guys didn't have any accidents.
I'll let you
I
confess.
never had an accident.
The only accident I had was, I was at convenience getting a bag of, or a pack of gum, and I backed out and hit a car that was some other direction. But I was very lucky because Dad was living at the new house, Bay Shores. Mom and I were still living in Fawn Parkway, and we were in transition. So I caught Dad right before he was leaving, and I told him about the accident. And he just shook his head but never said you're grounded or anything. So I'm like, sweet. So I went out. While I went out that night, I didn't drive, my friend drove, and we went to a party, and I had beer spilled on me. So I came home late, and Mom was home, and I left a note. It said, going to the prep game of Troy. Well, I come walking in, and Mom's like, look at this note. And she starts writing. She goes, I don't know who you're with. I don't know what time you left. I don't know what time you're going to be home. And she's writing, and you've been drinking. And that's where I came up with the story about got beer spilled on me. But the funny thing was, Terry was also living at the house that time. It was my senior year. You had moved back to Omaha before you started Central State, so 88. So Terry comes, and I thought he was going to kill me the next morning. He goes, what the hell are you doing? He goes, you wrecked the car, you're drinking? I go, no, separate issues. I wrecked the car, and then I was drinking. I didn't combine the two, and he after I was able to explain, that's my one accident. That the last part, I don't know if you ever heard that, so I'm probably
Which car was that?
the 1980 Impala, which I really liked that car. It was a great car.
A lot of people.
It was a boat. Can we tell a quick story about Annie and not being allowed to drive past 120th?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
But let Dad finish first, and then we can.
I'm not sure. Go ahead. You go ahead.
So, Mom let Ann take the car to St. Joe's basketball game.
4 people in there.
And Mom laid out very specific rules. Only you and one of your friends can be in the car, and you are not to go past their house, which is like 120 or something like that. And what I also think was funny was Mom checked up on Annie, which she never did that to us, not the other kids. So maybe it was an adoption thing. She just didn't trust her. Didn't know the way of their mom.
People want Child Protection Services to call you back.
Mom goes to Boys Town where they were playing the game. Annie jumps in the car with like 6 other people, so we're violating the first rule there. Mom lets her in traffic. And Annie even tells me later, she goes, I even made a comment to the other people in the car. Oh, this lady's nice and letting us cut into traffic. Not realizing it's her mother. Then Mom follows her all the way down to 60th and L Street to the Burger King, the
I
Ryan
think she
St.
said
Joe Burger
she
King.
was flashing the lights at me.
Even flashing the lights, yeah, exactly. Flashing the lights. Didn't think it even. Annie comes home and says,
No, Mom says, where'd you go? I'm like, oh, I guess I'm Burger King on 114. She said, no, you didn't. I'm like, yes, I did. No, you didn't. Yeah, I did. And then she said that she followed me. And I think I had more people than that because that front seat, you could fit like 4 people. I think I put 4 people in the back. Because it was a long.
Those Apollos.
there was a bed sheet you couldn't fit several people.
You want to tell
Well,
the
don't you
story?
remember, Dad, how when we were first growing up, you would put a board?
Yeah, we made.
Oh, yeah.
You made a board, so we didn't have seats.
We made a
We
panel
just-
of a four-door.
Right,
car.
so we would just climb in and we would sit on the board or lay on the board. We didn't have any seats. Dad, that's how we got everybody else in the car.
I was sort of driving.
I think you said it, Chevy, and then the station wagon after that.
I don't know the
I only had
particulars,
3
but
parking issues.
one night,
Let's let.
The one thing that you guys don't
Okay.
know that
Hey,
I went to
why don't you let your dad
see,
finish?
because that was the Burger King, that it was our Burger King.
56 now.
56 now. I remember it was like one of the first times I could drive, and I said I could drag this guy. I was like, my car's faster than yours, you know. He's like, we'll try. And so we were gonna go. Well, there was a median to get out of the parking lot, and I high centered the car, and they all had to help me get the car off the median. So I didn't even get a help. I didn't even get a race ticket because I couldn't even get a parking lot.
Well, I remember
Like, I can
Annie.
race you, my car's faster than your car, and you know.
You want to tell the time that Troy was going to quit college?
Oh, that was good.
The prank that Grandpa threw on.
So yes, my first year in college was as everybody struggled, I struggled, but I remember coming home and helping Tim on spring break. And it happened to be Sunday was April Fool's, and we were doing one of the Peel show or